On today's special feature, we sit with Dr. Adeyemi Adeniyi, Managing Director of Dealclinchers Homes Limited and Chairman, Retiree Ogun State Chapter. From strategic joint ventures with retirees to the remarkable delivery of multiple estates in Ikeja, Lagos, the center of excellence on the same day, to bold innovations like co-ownership, farm estates, and the Venice of Island Courts concept, he shares insights on growth, trust, and transformation in Nigeria's real estate space. We're pleased to welcome the Managing Director of Dealclinchers Homes Limited and Chairman, Retiree Ogun State Chapter, Dr. Adeyemi Adeniyi. Thank you for joining us again, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
It's always a pleasure to have you.
It's such a great delight for me anytime, ma'am.
Okay, so joint venture with retirees. Dealclinchers Home has shown you seem to have a very strong, you seem to have an interest, in partnering with retirees and then older investors through joint ventures. Can you tell us what made this, why you're going this route, and what value does this group of people, this demographic of people, bring to development strategy?
Once again, I want to appreciate all the ladies for having me this morning. Thank you so much, ma'am. And let me say Happy Workers' Day to everyone.
Thank you.
And I must say that that demography seems to be a neglected demography because I can say confidently that a number of times we see that we have houses where about 10 people live there normally, like the father, the mother, the children, and they also have cousins, nephew, nieces that lives with them, or even helps. Yeah. And suddenly, everybody start getting married, the children start going to school, nobody is coming back home, now left with the daddy and the mommy. And before you know it, mommy start going abroad to do a mugwa, and now remaining the father at home in a mansion of 10 bedrooms, 11, 12 bedrooms. And so I saw loneliness in the lives of many of those elderly men. And then we began to talk about, so daddy, what are you doing in this entire house? They tell me sometimes, some of them, they've not entered some rooms for, for 1 year, 2 years, and it's quite dusty. So what do? Let's rearrange your space for you. That's where we come in as Dealclinchers Homes Limited to help them remanage their space. So, and in trying to do that, what we do is we try to relocate them to a new space that is functional. And then we now come to probably bring down the building. Of course, we come to an arrangement about the number of units we're going to be doing, that we take ours, they take theirs. And then from there, we began to see many of their children coming back home now to say, because daddy will now say, now I have about 5 flats for you guys in the same house. And they come home and they say, wow. And everybody now have their spaces, and then they can use it. So that way, in one way or the other, we're bringing even many of our young people back home to come do something and contribute to the economy.
Wow, this is
interesting.
Lovely.
Yes.
So recently, they said you delivered 3 completed estates in Ikeja on the same day. And they said that this is very impressive in today's real estate climate. They said, can you walk us through how this was achieved from land acquisition to execution, especially in the face of the rising construction cost and inflation?
I must say, on behalf of the entire organization, we return the glory to God for that great feat. It's not actually easy. Delivering 3 completed estates and dedicating them in 1 day. Yes. One in Ikeja GRA, one in Ogudu GRA, and one in Allen Avenue. Because we have a niche as a company. We build 15-20 minutes to the international airport. And so all of these 3 estates that were dedicated the same day are they are in close proximity to the airport. So how did we go about it? I started by talking about why we work with elderly people. Yes. And so all of these 3, they are actually, they fall into the space of that joint venture partnership arrangement where we partner with elderly people and 1, 2, 3 of them. The only one we lost in the course of the project, we lost one of them in the course of the project. But of course, thank God for the children who witnessed the transaction were on ground and all of that. And it was also an easy job because when we were signing the project, a bag of cement was selling for probably about 3,000 naira.
Wow.
By the time we're going to hand over on the same day, a bag of cement was selling for about 12,000 naira.
So how do you make up the difference?
It was a very tough one, I must confess.
But you delivered.
But we delivered by His grace. So it's in fact, I'm talking to many of our other developers how they can actually thrive in the midst of the economic challenges. You know, there's a place of communication between you and the clients. There's a place of it's a bit difficult, but it's doable. You know, when you are communicating with them. I learned one of the days I went for one of the conferences where the speaker was talking and was saying that when they had issue with one of the multinational real estate company, and they said at that point when the issue came up with inflation, what he did was he picked his phone as the MD and was calling all of the subscribers one after the other.
Oh,
wow.
This is a situation, yes, a personalized way of solving issues. And that was what we did at Dealclinchers Homes Limited. We spoke to each one, not asking them to bring extra money, no, but asking for a little extension in the timing of delivery.
That's
to be
integrity.
able to crack that code. And we're able to deliver eventually.
So let's talk about your co-ownership model. It's relatively new in the Nigerian property space. So
Yes,
tell us, how do you handle this?
Okay. So we saw that there are a number of people who have got funds, but their funds is unable to give them the kind of accommodation they require. So why do you have to break the bank because you want to buy a house? So there's a house of 100 million, 500 million, 300 million. It seems to be too expensive for an average income earner. So what do? We get quite a number of them through our cooperative company where they come together and they co-own a particular house. And so what do we do and how do they benefit from it? When they co-own it, within a period of time, we sell that project or that property, they cash out their money, everybody goes home with interest on the co-ownership funds that they have done through the cooperative system. And then that way people raise money to be able to buy a property of their dreams.
Wow.
And so some people would they set a target that, okay, I'm going to co-own for the next 2 years, 3 years, and within that period, if they decide that they want to be cashing out, reinvest, within 3 years, they have a substantial money to be able to buy a property of their own
separately from the co-ownership.
Yes.
I want to, you spoke earlier about the inflation and 3,000 to 11,000 plus is not small money.
Yes.
And that's just talking about cement, iron, granite, everything just went crazy. People are worried about the risk management. You know, every investment is risky, but real estate in Nigeria has become even more risky with plenty investors lacking confidence in how to approach real estate. So I want to ask you, how does your company, structure its projects to protect the investors, and what ensures that there's transparency in how the investors' funds are managed?
Okay, ma'am. I must say that the co-ownership structure has been able to help us to be able to manage inflation well. So usually while we were always trying to do off-plan sales where you sell, for example, we sold the flats, 3-bedroom flats in Ikeja GRA for 65 million about 2.5 years ago. 65 million. I mean, that's the glorious veil cuts.
Okay.
Yes, and I remember that on the day of dedication, people who bought for 65 million were reselling for 450 million.
Wow.
But of course, none of them wants to sell. Yeah, that was the value at that time. So, but they were smiling, but we were not smiling as a company because we lost money.
Yes.
But the beautiful thing is the place of integrity, because we have a name and we want to be in the business for a long time. So how do we manage risk and mitigate losses? So what we do is this, through the co-ownership scheme, we don't have to sell off-plan or depend on off-plan anymore.
Okay.
People who have trusted us over the years, who bought when they saw nothing. I remember selling to one person in my office on an A4 paper, and the person was asking, this estate, how is it going to be? And I drew it myself, and he said, I'm picking this unit. That's trust. And he paid before he left that day. That's trust. So at every point in time at our management meeting, I keep telling the people that, you know what, anybody who is funding your dream without seeing it should be celebrated more than people who are seeing the physical structure. So we place them at priority and make sure that whatever they pay for, they get it. But right now, we've been able to build the trust, and the brand has gone to a point where we don't have to survive on off-plan again. So we don't lose money anymore through the co-ownership scheme, where people bring in funds and we're able to develop and give and sell at the actual rates with our profit.
Interesting. Wow. Next one is Venice of the Island Courts. The moment I heard that, I was like, Venice, this is huge, this is global. What are we talking about here? Could you please explain to us what this vision is all about?
Okay, ma. One of the things I saw about the Indians, people from India, people from Pakistan, and the Chinese, every one of them, when they go overseas to study, they come back home. So had that value and the experience and the exposure, they come home to build their nation. And a lot of Nigerians, many of us go abroad, we study, we don't want to come back home. But the truth is this, who are those that will develop this nation if everybody says it's not my business? So one of the places where I've sojourned is Doha in Qatar. And then I saw a place called Venice. And so
replicated.
and we are replicating same in Nigeria. And it's the first of its kind in Nigeria. What's the concept? Very simple. Now, the real Venice in Italy, they hardly have land.
Yes, it's water.
And so virtually everything is on water. And so people open their windows, they see water, and you know, it's a very lovely view. Evening time, people are on boat ride and all of that. It's the same thing we're doing in the same estates. It's not waterlogged, it's not a water area, but we're creating artificial water.
Oh, wow.
Where people can see.
It's going to be something.
Time, they can take a boat ride and all of that.
Nigerians, do they like water like that?
So I like to enjoy
it. Pay anything around the water view just to be around the ocean or even the sea.
That's me. I love water. So, okay, so the real estate and the agricultural sector, they are two different sectors. So what motivated you to go into farm estates, and how does this align with your overall business philosophy?
Thank you, ma. Dealclinchers Homes Limited is actually an elder-centric organization. We consider elderly people. One day, one of my neighbors that we did joint venture partnership together with told me, he said, you people, you don't think that one day you people will grow old. Why are you doing things and you are separating elders from what you are doing? And what was he talking about? He said, even in our houses, why can't we have rooms on the ground floor that when an elderly people is buying, they know that they don't have to climb stairs.
Yes.
And so have a master bedroom on the ground floor. So we do things at Dealclinchers to customize to the need and the taste of elderly
Makes
ones.
sense. Exactly.
Now, we did something in Ibadan, for example, and that was purely for retirees, only bungalows within the entire estate. And so we looked at it that, okay, a lot of retired people, once they get retired, many people are going back to their villages. And what are they going there to do? To put their hands on one or two things and be expecting death in some cases. Right. And so we said, okay, can't we have a community where we have all these retirees and they can still be doing something, even though many of them may not know about farming. But one thing I've seen, and we have seen as a company in this country, is this: if what you will eat is taken care of, where you will live is taken care of.
The rest is...
And you can move around. The small, you know,
and then you have a community.
Have a community. So, and that's what inspired that community. Let's have retirees. We're selling in that place agriculture. We're promoting the agriculture where Nigeria used to be before. Okay, we are saying, okay, what you can buy in that place is not more than, I mean, it's not less than an acre. an acre of land, and within that 1 acre of land, you can't do higher than a bungalow.
Okay.
But all the remaining parts of the 1 acre is for farming.
Wow.
Okay.
You can plant and go and harvest in your backyard. You can eat fresh, live fresh, and then we create job opportunity even for the communities, you know, and they can be engaged as farmers.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Yes, we've run out of time. Thank you so
You
much.
know when you are here, you just be flowing. The next 1 hour, you
Dr. Adeyemi, thank you for joining us, and we're wishing you all the best, you know, with the Venice and the farm estates and everything that you're doing. That was Dr. Adeyemi Adeniyi, Managing Director of Dealclinchers Homes Limited. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll take our hot topics for the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.